Welcome to another episode of Crypto Posse. There's a lot going on out there this week, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, freaks, geeks, and couch potatoes. There is just so much going on to talk about. But I got to say, we're going to try to keep a focus on markets because the bottom line is no matter what's going on, whether it be tariffs or whether it be, the weather, okay, what's going on with sports or movies, none of it really matters when it talks to the Crypto Posse because the bottom line is we got to talk about the market to keep it kind of with this flow about what's really important. Even though everything's important, the market's at the core of that. So with that said, we're going to start out talking to Mike. And from what I understand, Mike's going to, he's feeling a little bit under the weather from SUI syndrome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Mike?
Yeah, I'm definitely a little damaged from the Sui run up this week. I was scalping Sui at like 176 and selling it in the 180 range and just got on the wrong end of that trade. So I'm definitely a little shattered from it, but we'll get back into that later. I just wanted to touch on the moves of Bitcoin. Last week we covered the fact that Bitcoin broke out of a consolidation channel in around the 84 to 87K range. And then we talked about Bitcoin's upward momentum, maybe leading it up into the 90,000 range, which it did achieve and is trading right now in the 92 to 94 range. So we're seeing some movement, but we're not quite sure what's going to happen. 95K is the key number, where if we can get a daily close above that number, I think that we could see Bitcoin run up to 100K. But whether that happens or not, there's a lot of economic news coming out this week with the stock market. We have GDP numbers, the PC, we have job reports, first quarter GDP. So there's a lot of information that's going to come out this week that could drive the market. We're hoping that Bitcoin can separate itself from the traditional markets and kind of move on its own. Generally, it kind of follows the move of the NASDAQ. So we'll have to wait and see what happens this week, but hopefully we can see, Bitcoin entering back into the 100K range.
I mean, that's a big move. I mean, wasn't it just a couple weeks ago, Bitcoin was down to like 74?
It's made a 20-day move from 74 to 94. So if you average that out in a daily aspect, it's moved up $1,000 a day for the last 20 days.
Well, that sounds pretty exciting to me.
Pretty awesome movement. You're seeing Ethereum up about 6%. You've got Solana up 7%, XRP up 7.7%. So we're seeing some movement in these altcoins, and definitely I think as Bitcoin enters that higher range, you're going to see these altcoins move up.
Yeah, you think they'll trail Bitcoin is kind of our general theory behind that, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then we've seen action with Ethereum with anticipation of the Petra upgrade, focusing on scalability and security for that ecosystem. Solana, you've got VanEck and 21 Shares has filed for ETFs for Solana. Then you also have DeFi development adding more to their holdings for Solana up to 48 million. So we're seeing a lot of institutional investors getting exposure to these coins.
Which got to be a good thing, right? I mean, things are moving in a direction where, it's an upward trend.
No, it is for sure. And also you got news coming out this week for XRPs. On May 1st, they have a burn, and there's speculation that they might change uh, activity to their ecosystem as far as the escrow goes. So there's thought that they could burn a portion of the coins. They could donate to the XRP ledger to further enhance their ecosystem, or even maybe one wild speculation would be they would donate to the U.S. Strategic Reserve, which I think is a bit far-fetched, but it could happen.
Interesting stuff going on. I mean, while the whole world is kind of reeling over markets, what's going on in so many sectors, pretty inspiring that in the midst of all that, the crypto world seems to be finding a pretty solid state right now. You would think maybe it would be unstable too, but it seems pretty solid. How do you guys, gentlemen, Posse? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm happy that it's up. I mean, it's a little bit unexpected for me. I thought it was kind of going to stay a little lower, but with it going up, to me, I'm just wondering if we're going to get one more big dip before coming back, and then that'll be the last dip. So I'm kind of a little iffy on it today. Just keeping my eye on.
Do you think Bitcoin will go back down at some point in the near future, do that dip down to like 74? Or do you think there's a new low, or is that, what do you guys think about that? Because there was some money to be made there, right? Obviously, in hindsight, and the whole coulda, shoulda, woulda thing, which I'm totally against. But in hindsight, that's a pretty big shift all of a sudden, 74 to 94. There's some cashish on the table. But I'm just wondering, do you think that'll happen again, or are we just moving forward?
I kind of think it's a little too soon, too much going on to move forward. I would personally feel better. I mean, if it went back down to that 72 range, maybe even hit 71, uh, at that point coming up, I'd feel a lot more confident that that could be the last major dip we have.
And that could be a good buy-in point. Like if it goes back down to 70, 71, 72, right in there. I mean, judging by just what recently happened, that would be, I would think, a marker to be like, hey, man, put some dough in that thing.
Absolutely, I would feel like time to get in.
Yeah,
Because if say it went down to 68, guess what? You just buy more, just like Will would
definitely.
say. At
Yeah.
that point, you could just start putting money in. I wouldn't say I'd put it all in at 71, but I'd put a chunk in and always have some reserves to if you have the dollar cost average down. At that point, I would feel confident Bitcoin at 71 all day long, where it's going to go in the future.
So it would be like you'd be eating a bowl of Chunky Monkey at that point. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like this, it would just be time to chunk up. I just feel like the whole chunk energy is what it's all about. To some degree, it's not about, tentatively putting, some small amount. I mean, when you feel that confidence to go, what, based on everything I've seen in the last 3 months, it drops down to 70-ish, yeah, make a big bowl of the Chunky Monkey because I'm getting in. I just feel like that's something that we could wrap our head around. Will, what do you think about that?
If we do see it pull back, like we're discussing, it's funny because I learned this from you, Mike. What does BTFD stand for?
Buy the fucking dip.
You? Right? Because if you would have bought that dip a couple weeks ago, fast forward to today, you'd be sitting in a really good position. On top of that, what really cures, I use this word cure, FOMO, fear of missing out, is when you see these pullbacks, put some skin in the game. Just like Jeff was saying, buy a little bit. If it goes lower, buy more, especially if we're talking about Bitcoin here. Altcoins, completely different conversation. But if you capitalize, and I believe, wasn't that last episode, how to capitalize on market volatility?
You're damn right it was, mister.
Well, you just hit that buy button.
Good stuff. No, yeah, it's good stuff, man. It just really is a real pragmatic point of view. And I want to go back to Mike giving you a minute or more to, get us under the hood on this whole feeling under the weather from Sui syndrome.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I was scalping Sui. I bought the dip. I bought the fucking dip. I did. But I didn't just buy and hold on, which I should have done. I should have, would have, could have. And you love that, Joseph,
I do.
when I
I
say
just,
that,
yeah,
because
it drives me
for
crazy
some
actually.
reason I'm always on the wrong side of the trade sometimes, and I'm like, damn, I should have did this or that. But like I said, I was buying Sui at 176, scalping it, selling it for like a $1.80, making these incremental gains on, $10, $12,000, making like $300. If I just would have walked away, Sui ran up to all the way up to like 380. So, I could have doubled my money in 3 weeks if I would have just held on. And I think Sui's outperforming, most of the top 100 coins this week at like 67%, fueled by obviously a little bit of a push with Bitcoin, but also Sui has partnered up with MasterCard to come up with a credit card that they call the Real Card. And what it is it's tied to your personal ledger. So it allow you to spend your cryptocurrency in over 139 countries. And then also there's speculation with a Sui Pokemon rumored collaboration for a online blockchain based trading card. And I think that's helping fuel the market as well. So, you have technological innovations, ecosystem expansion, have enhanced transaction speeds and reduced latency. DEX volume reaching a record 466 million in a single day. Institutional support. Grayscale has launched a SUI trust. So all these different factors are helping to give Sui this kind of a run we've seen. And yeah, I am truly under the weather. I picked up a flu, or I don't know what it is, from my girlfriend, but you know, uh, in all honesty, I'm really got egg on my face about this trade, and I'm definitely suffering from Sui syndrome here, watching this thing just run away from me.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Sorry to hear about the Sui syndrome and the egg on your face. Let's take a minute to wipe the egg off and ask you this. Learning, what I always do is try to say, okay, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, if I would have done this, it's based on hindsight. But is there something to learn from what happened? Is there a way that, all these things that you just mentioned, why Sui took its run? Was there a way to see that if we learn how to maybe look at the data? Was there a way to see any precursors that we could learn from and go, well, gosh, there was a lot there to look at that could have made me feel more confident to keep it in rather than pull it out?
Yeah, well, definitely now, I've to be honest, I've done more of my research, when I just had seen, I was day trading XRP. I had seen the movement in SUI. There was more of a gap there in the intraday low to high. So I just started paying attention to SUI more. And in all honesty, I didn't do my research as far as the developments, looked at any of the, listened to any of the analysis about the coin actually, you know, uh, the potential in the coin.
So let me ask you this. So once it crushed it, which I want to say was a pretty big event, right? It went up dramatically. Once that happened, you were so affected by Sui syndrome that with that, you then did research to find out, well, why the hell did that happen? Right? You're just like kind of blown away by it. So you did some research, but maybe if you learn from that, maybe there's that research that would happen prior.
No, for sure. I mean, if you're ever going to get into any coin, you're going to want to do your due diligence and research and listen to some you know what listen to what analysts are saying about the coin, and try to figure out where an entry point would be, figure out where the support and resistance is, and try to get a low buy-in. I mean, if I had that same scenario set up, there's if we do get that dip that we're talking about, which I'm not sure if we're going to see Bitcoin under 80,000 again. In my opinion, I would love to see it lower, because I would definitely be a buyer. Um, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, nobody has a crystal ball, that's for sure.
That's for sure. We it's a common theme here on Crypto Posse, and I think that it's fair to say that no one's got a crystal ball. But what we do have is a way to learn from each experience, just like we do in life. Try to go, well, oh, that was, whatever's going on. I mean, even if you're surfing and you paddle this way or that way, and all of a sudden you find what works and what doesn't work, like low tide here, high tide there. We just learn, constantly trying to use that data to be a better surfer, to get a better wave, to do a better investment, whether it's buying a car or, stocks or crypto or whatever. I mean, I just feel like, what would you do differently, specifically in hindsight, trying to wipe this egg off? Let's try to take this and make it something of value. So instead of walking around eggy about it, you go, well, that sucked, but here's what I got from it.
I think what a good way for him would have been to just put a stop loss, or at that point, if you're in profit, you could call it a stop gain. So high up, it would be equivalent to selling, and then if it kept running, you're still in the trade.
Oh, yes. I think that's going to be hard to debate.
That's really good advice. That's called trade management, right? You're managing your money properly. And you brought up some really solid points, even relating it to surfing, right? What keeps me out of the mentality of the shoulda, coulda, woulda, or the mentality of I missed that trade. Or even recently, I could relate. I took a really fucking sniper entry on XRP. And I'm getting really good at sniping these, not because of me, but because of the people I surround myself with. But just like the waves, are the waves going anywhere? No. Is the market going anywhere?
I mean, it's kind of like surfing and crypto are very similar in the sense, right? I mean, it's very intuition. There's a lot that's very similar. The waves aren't going anywhere, but they change constantly, just like crypto.
That's where educating yourself comes into play. If you're going to invest into crypto, you should invest into yourself. And one thing I really want to touch on that Mike brought up was technical analysis, or analyzing the chart. Because the world that I live in, we can talk about SUI and the partnerships, but all that's doing is the chart is telling you the move first, because the chart will tell you the news. So if you look at the chart, you would have seen that SUI was in an uptrend, and that they're using these partnerships to give you a reason as to why the chart is doing what it's doing.
Totally. The ability to analyze, but also use your instinct. It's the same thing as surfing, It's a cool parallel. I mean, I will say so myself, even though I'm the one that said it, so let's not get too happy. But I mean, at the end of the day, I love that term, sniper entry. Oh my gosh. That's just, I'm a very visual thinker. So that just kind of hit me as like, I could see like a poster for that, it's just like, yeah, we're going to, who knows what's coming up, what we're going to find to give some visuals about that. But yeah, really, really good stuff. And Mike, I hope you're feeling better soon. And I hope there's a lot to learn from being a part of the posse where, you can kind of gather a way to wipe the egg off and move forward on a Monday and just go, okay, well, yeah, that kind of sucked. I didn't take the run with Sui but maybe there's something to learn. So next time, and you'll feel a little more confident. But once again, we don't know. We have no crystal ball, but all we could do is try, right? So moving forward, Jeff, from what I understand this week, you're going to talk about good gains on small cap coins this week. Okay. Talk to me.
So the last couple of weeks has been kind of my little fun trading that I like to do with these smaller cap coins. Very volatile, but they go up. You just have to learn how to catch them. For instance, Ergo went up over 100%. AST 275%. NKN 137%. FX 254. And that's just to name a few. So they were really low, but really, really good gains. You could have just caught even part of that. And that's for a day, 24-hour period.
Now, let me ask you this. Did you capitalize on that, or is that in hindsight?
I could have done better, but I was actually holding half of those coins already. I bought a little high, they dipped, but as they were coming back, I made profit. The only thing I could have did a little bit better was knowing that they're coming back. I could have bought into them, so I would have made a profit coming back, with profit that was invested.
Looking at it from a hindsight perspective, trying to learn always, is there a way you could see markers moving forward? Is there something to learn from how that played out and what you could take from that to do better next time?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was a little bit unexpected. I wanted to make sure it was real, but every day, a couple new coins would come out. These would even go up the percentages I just said, and then dip 40, 50% the next day, and then come back 3 days later in the week. It's kind of a pattern that I've seen before. Um, and also with that said, it took a lot of the meme coins that have been not doing so well with it as well. All the meme coins, most of the meme coins went up. Uh, Another thing, Bonk hasn't moved in a while. That just a couple days ago actually is up 57-ish%.
Bonk.
Bonk, yeah, it's a Solana meme coin that was quite popular. It would be below SHIB, but SHIB hasn't really done much and kind of dormant.
I love these names, Bonk, Shib. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love sniper, sniper entry point. When we're talking a lot of times, I just see, we talk about it a lot. I see certain things where you just go, I see a visual bumper sticker.
That'd be a cool coin, sniper coin,
Oh my gosh.
sniper meme coin.
Who knows? Pretty soon there might be a crypto posse coin and we could call it Sniper if Will would be cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to take what Will's, but we do and we don't. We have to ask permission. But yeah, out of respect to you guys, I mean, I just really feel a really good vibe what's happening right now with us and in our space, what we're doing with our YouTube channel and what we're bringing to the world is trying to bring a positive light to shine on top of whatever energy's coming. Cause it's a really interesting time. It's just an interesting time in the world. I don't think anyone's debating that, whether you're pro or con, whatever's happening out there with all the trade and everything that's going on. It's a really interesting time. But here we are, Crypto Posse, just trying to have fun, trying to make sense of it. And
I was just gonna finish off a little bit. The AI agents went up as well. So the meme coins, small caps, AI agents, the Axe bits, virtuals, they had some really good gains as well because they had such a big loss. A lot of those are down 80, 90%. So those kind of ran, all those together. And when I'm looking for these coins, I do trade them on Coinbase. I look at crypto bubbles. I also look at coin market cap, and then of course TradingView for charting them. And then a couple other things is I'm looking for when these coins break out of a previous low and they're on the uptrend, and I look for volume and momentum. So if I miss, the first upswing, as long as the volume and momentum's there, I might, get into the trade for safety. And then obviously, as Will would say, you want a sniper or a really good entry. And it's always good to set up a stop loss when you get some profit. If you can get towards break even at first and then trail up your stop loss as these coins, because they're so volatile, if you're watching them, they could be 40% in 15 minutes. You're going to want to bring your stop loss up into profit to protect yourself from, because when they go up, they come down just as quick.
how quickly can you change your stop loss?
It literally takes like 2 seconds. It's a couple clicks and you're good to go. Some of these platforms I really love using. It's one click. It's just a click, a drag. You put it here. You go back to surfing.
It reminds me of a song. I think the band is Saliva. They have a song called Click, Click, Boom. I mean, that kind of comes to mind, just the excitement of what's happening. It just keeps blowing my mind is that, a lot of things are, there's a lot of discussion about how different products right now have just doubled, and there's just a lot of insecurity, and there's a lot going on outside of what we're talking about that you would think would be affecting it even more. But what's happening is that all this upswing on every, memes and alts and, Bitcoin and all the big top five. I mean, it seems like a pretty good time in the midst of what seems to be also a pretty, I don't know what it is, if it's a sketchy time, whatever it is, people are feeling a little bit insecure right now with what's going on in the world.
I mean, it goes back to this game of chess these people at the top are playing, with the word tariff. It's just like a tool used, but if you learn how to capitalize on these types of environments and not be distracted, that's how you can come up. That's how you can make the cashish. That's how you make these gains. Because really, money is only really doing one thing. It's just transferring hands. And it seems to me that it's transferring from the people that are impatient to the people that are patient. The game we're playing. Do you have patience? And Mike was touching on it. It's not so much of the shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's, do you believe in what you're investing in? Are you willing to hold on to whatever these assets that you're buying, whether it be Bitcoin or these altcoins? Do you believe? Because trust me, I've been there. I bought Ethereum at $90. Go look at the price of Ethereum today. I didn't hold on to it the whole time. But if I did, you're talking about life-changing money. You go look at the price right now, and it's like somewhere in the range of about 2K, 1,800.
That's like 20 times your money, right?
Yeah, about 20 extra money. And what you do in that time is you be patient. You keep on plugging into whatever lifestyle you have. Hopefully you're improving upon that lifestyle. And that's how you just slowly progress in life. You get better each time.
Yeah, I think if you did a 20x, if you had a decent amount in, I mean, that's not just going surfing in Tahiti, that's buying the island. I mean, yeah. So patience is a big one, I mean, I think at the end of the day, from what I'm learning from you guys, is it's a lot about reading the charts and knowing how to read the charts and study the data, and then use your instinct and maybe understand what already has happened in the history of trading, and try to get a sense, and then just roll with it and chunk up, get a nice big bowl of chunky monkey and tap your bank account and just say, let's do this. Because at the end of the day, if we don't put anything chunky in, we're not going to win chunky either.
It's all about taking action, and I'm sure you guys can relate, knowing that you guys serve. I mean, and I know you touched on this a couple of episodes ago, Joseph, it's like before you even enter the water, you're sitting on the sand watching. Same thing with a chart. You're just watching price action, seeing what the waves are doing, and then that intuition from your experience is oh man, I got to go to this spot, or I got to go to that spot. Now you've got that sniper entry on a perfect tube that you literally sat and you set up by being patient.
That's an aspect of what we do. And, just a cool thing to touch on. But I will say that, Will, I know that this week, switching gears, I know that you want to talk about, or you're going to talk about building the future with crypto markets and the architecture of tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a really fun topic for me. And I love that word, integration. I'm using the crypto market to create freedom, so I have more free time to go do the things that I really want to do in life. And it's going to take time. It's going to take patience, but it will happen. It's going to happen because the infrastructure is being built out. And even going back to 2008 and 2009, when this crypto market was kind of taking shape, imagine investing then, having the patience into today. So that's what I'm looking back, and not saying, oh man, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, because I have those stories too. But it's how do I integrate those lessons into today? how do I utilize the infrastructure that's being built today to capitalize? And it's happening, and it's happening, and it's happening to the point where people are being distracted. And that's okay. But I'm not going to be led down that path of distraction while all this is being built out. And here's a good point. We're talking about the big players with the big money. And Mike touched on it earlier. They need the infrastructure in place in order to put their money into the market. And what that sounds like is these ETFs. Today, right now, behind the scenes, you have Paul Atkins, which is now he's been sworn into the SEC. This man is pro crypto. And I wanted to touch on that too. One of the things that I really love about the crypto posse is that we all have skin in the game. We're all involved in crypto in one shape or another, whether it be just from the perspective of learning, dipping your toe into the water, or someone like myself, where I'm training to be a sniper entry perfectionist. And once I get those perfect entries, what I'm learning and what my feedback was from this last week in trading, I got a perfect entry, killer entry. You're talking about literally the price bottom, and I bought that bottom. And it happens almost every time. But it's being patient and learning how to utilize the stop loss is what I'm learning. Because I make these killer gains, and then when price comes back down, I want to lock that in. I don't want to give money back. I want to take money for myself. And then what happens is it'll hit my stop loss, and then it'll go up higher. So I'm not losing, and I'm definitely not complaining. I'm just taking that feedback because, again, I want to use the infrastructure that I'm seeing be built out and apply that to how I'm trading and investing into these markets.
That's freaking awesome. I mean, there's so much learning from what you just said. That's just like a tutorial course for anyone who wants to kind of listen to a mentor and hear such valuable information. So well said. I really picked up a lot from that. I really did. I love what you just talked about. I really got a lot from that. I know that's being redundant. I just said that twice in a row, but I do that when I feel really strong about something. And, is there any way you guys can feed into what Will is talking about from your perspective? Because, wow.
I think it's management. Will talks about management, and when you're in that position, there is a few things you could do, and it's difficult to make the decision with your stop loss. Do you leave it low so it doesn't retract and hit it to stay in the trade, and then what part of profit would you take when it's up? You could take profit, and then there's just so many things you can do, and it falls into the management, which is very, very difficult.
And very key, very difficult, but very key at the end of the day, right? Yeah, it's the sniper entry point, but then it's also the management that's going to capitalize on the situation. And when, of course, then that's the instinct and the learning and the data and the everything you can study to be able to read the charts and then just really get a sense, right? But yeah, management, it's got to be, it's the entry point and the management. And then I guess at one point it's the human that's still, there's so much AI in the world now and it's only going to get more, but we get to, as humans, still play a part, right? We check in with all kinds of AI platforms, but at the end of the day, it's still us here, humans still ruling, hopefully for at least another 22 minutes, okay, before AI just takes over and makes us obsolete and we answer and bow down to AI, which, hey, there's a lot of talk about that. I watched a show, it's about the Google AI guy or just all these top AI guys, and they all say the same stuff like, yeah, we got a few years before, it's going to rule the world. And I'm just like, okay, and that's the big dogs telling us that. But here we are now being able to use AI to at least give us some input. But we get to use our instinct, our human instinct, to be able to channel that as more data, not It doesn't have to be the God we worship.
I actually found a guy last night that is trying to track those coins that Jeff was talking about, those small cap coins that pump up, and he calls them the Binance cartel. And what he's done is he's specifically geared his AI to figure out when those small cap coins are going to pump, because what they do is they pump them up and then they dump them. And so they're making the cashish and everybody else is left holding the bag. So what they've done is they've figured out a way to see when those players enter into the derivative markets, and they can pinpoint when those coins are going to go up, give you an entry point and then a sell point. So it's kind of interesting. I just saw that last night before bed, and the guy wants like $27, not a month or a year, just a $27 fee for that AI. So I was thinking about maybe checking it out. It's only $27.
A one-time fee?
One-time fee, yeah, because we've always talked about how do you identify those coins, those small caps that get these astronomical gains. So that could maybe be a way.
I think what it is the AI follows the wallets of the whales, and when you see them act, you act behind them. These coins with the smaller market caps are easier to do because of the money that's being put in. You kind of control it. And I think that because you sent it to me, I was in bed, I scanned through it. I was going to look at it a little bit more. I just wonder, with it so cheap to get in, how does this become a business? 27. I think mine said $9, but if it was 27, there'd have to be a lot of people to bring the funding up to make it worth it. Because I look at it in reverse. This guy would have what, 1 million people, or you got to make some money. I just didn't see that, but I do like the idea that because you can follow because the addresses are public, we could all see them. The wallets are public information, and you just follow the whales. That's another technique. Some people just solely do that. They'll go on Dex.io or something, and it's all these crazy coins. They have Bitcoin on there too, but it's a kind of like a pump fund. They have these new coins that are minutes old, weeks old, months old. It's crazy. It looks like a circus on there, but you can go on there and get the data to follow the whales' wallets and see what they're doing. And
I love it. I got a visual on a whale's wallet just now. It's the second time you said whale wallet. I can't wait till we see the visuals we're going to come up with for that one.
Yeah.
Right? Makes a lot of sense. There's another thing. It makes nothing but sense. In a sense, watch the big dogs. They didn't get to be the big dogs for nothing. And, see if we can trail, kind of like a cyclist does when he's behind a pack of cyclers. The big guy's up front and he's trailing the energy. They do it in all kinds of racing, right? So it's like trailing the big dogs. Well, it makes a lot of sense to me.
What comes to mind listening to you guys about wealth, not just the whole scared money doesn't make money, but if it doesn't make dollars, then it doesn't make sense.
Oh my God. There's another one. Think of that as a bumper sticker.
Maybe we should just start a bumper sticker company. Will's got one every week.
Oh my God. We'd have like 20 bumper stickers already. I'm going to have to go talk to my printer.
That could be the best one yet.
That's a really good one.
I kind of just caught on to that one.
That's a really good one. Yeah, we could have bumpers. Crypto Posse should have all these cool sayings as bumper stickers designed and ready for the merch. And what we've got to say, like we do every week, is, let us know what you're thinking. A lot of good stuff being said here on Crypto Posse. Leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe. Okay. Just want to say again, great episode, super stimulating, great to talk with you guys. Go out there and enjoy your week, whether it be the pump track, the surfing, or all the fun things you do, Will. It's just endless what we can get into. So, see you guys next week. Over and out.